Hello everyone, it's Aqua Tiger, Frosty the Dragon, Alex, whatever you call me. And this is a Let's Play of Street Rod, one of my favorite DOS games ever. You have to excuse me for a minute, that's the game's copy protection, and I have to look up the code. So yeah, enter my real name and start. Normally, now you first have to select a car. You can only afford certain ones to start, because you only got a certain bankroll, which you see on the lower left. I usually pick up the Royal Lancer, not the styling you see here. And, you have to manage your fuel, but... Well, you sort of have to manage your fuel a bit, but I usually just fuel up full right away. I don't know if having lower fuel reserves actually makes you go faster in this game. And since I've got some extra leeway this first time, with the styling, I decided to switch to get new tires for it. Chopping the roof and stripping the bumpers, I am positive those things can make you go faster. Less wind resistance, you understand. So yeah, this is a car racing game if you haven't figured it out already. I do a full feature of this, except I don't know where the game ends, proper. I don't know if you're supposed to beat the king in a road race or something. That's the only guess I have. So, I'm only doing a short feature. And the first thing to do is find a car you can actually beat in a race. Now, anytime you face a Valiant, you have to race it, because Valiants are by far the easiest car to beat. Try using one yourself in the game, you'll see why. Their engines are terrible. Now the thing is, drag races only go to city limits. City limits is always a straight line. Road races go to the county line, and there you get turns, the blocked road, all sorts of things like that. Now there's a blocked road right there. Now there's a couple random factors in this game. First off, the actual layout of the road races seems to be randomized. Second, actually no, the other ones aren't random factors. The second one is the Policeman, which I did not get in this video, and I did not want to get it in this video because I hate that guy. And if you, I'll explain him in a minute, actually. Dodge there. So yeah, my understanding of the game is that you're supposed to buy cars, soup them up, race them. Actually, I got a question for you people in the audience. Was drag racing a big problem in California in the 60s? Because this is a representation of that, sort of. I see I won there, and sometimes you get to drive the car home. Sometimes you don't. I switch back up to my styling, because I gotta soup that one up. I gotta check and see why I changed the tires again. Yeah. So anyway, there are a couple ways you can lose in this game that I know for sure. First off, the policeman I mentioned earlier. If you get him, you have to make sure he stays behind you at all times. If he gets in... I just sell the Valiant here. $13.50 is the used car price in the paper for a styling, and for the Valiant in this game. I sell for a bit less than that because I can make sure I actually get a sell price. Anyway, about the policeman. He may show up on occasion, and if you let him get in front of you, you get a ticket. 75 bucks. You can't pay, you automatically lose the game. Oh, this is why I took the tires off. Like I said, I usually get a Royal Lancer. This time I went for a different car set, just for some fun. And other ways to lose the game. There's a calendar you see over there Apparently, if you run out of time, you lose the game. I think you can tell this by the circle dates. The third way to lose the game is if you crash the car. If you crash the car, you either just have to pay for damages, or you wind up totaling the thing and lose it entirely. If you don't have any cars and don't have enough bankroll to buy a car, I think the minimum is somewhere in like the something like $400. If you can't pay, you automatically lose the game. I never finished this when I was younger, because like I said before, I don't know what the trigger is for actually winning. I just know that after winning a few races, I managed to get the challenge the king to a drag race, and I think I immediately lost back then. Now, little me forgets that. I've never played around with the Impalas. I know I have an Impala in real life. I just know that the Impala of now is way different than the Impala of the 60s, or 50s, or whatever this model is. Apparently, it's not as... well, I don't race cars, ever. The roads up here where I live just aren't good enough for that. Plus, as far as I know, drag racing, road racing, is illegal. So, yeah. Well, there's not much I can say about this road race. I think the road races within the same game are always the same. It's just that the actual road race differs from game to game. Don't know if some are longer, some are shorter, or whatever. I ought to point some other things out. See the handle on the right? That's supposed to be the shift stick, but most cars start with I think most cars start with an auto transmission in this game. Autos are easier to manage, but they're slower. I'm positive that they're slower. The other option is a 3-speed or 4-speed. You basically, instead of the clock you see there, you'll get an RPMs gauge. When the RPMs gauge is maxed out, you'll hear a certain tone, and that's when you're supposed to shift on the manuals. The automatics, you see the timer because there's no need to worry about all that. Another thing I'd reveal, the guy you see smoking in there is how you might have seen it before, it's how you call back your opponents for another, to try to challenge them. I know I went through 2 road races in this vid. I try to go for a drag race just to afford a better engine. Because the engine is probably the most important part of it as far as speed. It can also get horribly out of tune, as you saw way back earlier in the video. I think red is the optimum for tuning it. I don't know for sure. So yeah. The things, by the way, as far as crashes I mentioned earlier, the things you can crash into, you can crash into the trees on the left, you can crash into the power poles on the right, I think you can get trees on the right as well, and you can rear-end vehicles. The way I remember it, when you crash, you get this weird looking glass, and also blood spatters. Yeah, games back in the 90s were more violent than you'd think. So I win the drag race and can afford an engine. This actually ends my Let's Play, but one more mistake here. Certain engines only go in certain vehicles. I think it goes by actual manufacturers or something. Chevys can only use GM parts. Dodges can only use Chrysler parts. See right there? Anyway, that ends my Let's Play. See you later.